Hey y'all, hi. So there's this one type of lip product that I'm really into right now. It's a tinted lip balm, as you probably know from the title of the video. I have pretty specific parameters about what I'm looking for, like what I really want. And I only have one product that fits that description, but I've come to suspect that it doesn't fit it as well as it could. And every time I reach for a lip product, I want something like the thing that I love, but better, but I don't really know what that would be. And a couple of weeks ago, I caught myself thinking, gosh, I wish that I had more data about this type of product. I wish that somebody would test out a bunch of them and then review them all. And then I was like, Hannah, that's your job. That is literally your job description. So I made haste to order a bunch of products that fit the description, trying to get as close as possible to my dream, my ideal. And now I'm going to start testing them. And I thought that to kick off the period of time during which I'm getting to know each of them really well, garnering from myself very detailed reviews, I thought to kick that off, I would do like a tournament style first impressions, basically, discovering on camera right out of the gate which ones seem like likely contenders for the tinted lip balm of my dreams and which ones I can tell right away actually aren't contenders. If this happens to be your first time to my channel, then welcome. This is a beauty channel and this is the kind of thing that I do from time to time, but I also make videos about fashion, aesthetics at large. I'm interested in value, use value when it comes to products and quality over quantity. So this video is in line with that thread of my interest. And if you like it, I hope you'll subscribe. Now let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. Okay, so these are my parameters for a dream tinted lip balm. For the format, I want it to be in a bullet format. And this is for ease of use reasons. With a bullet product, all you have to do to use it is take the lid off, put it on your lips, and put the lid back on. The fewest possible steps. All of the other formats, like a lip balm in a pot, you have to take the lid off, put your finger in it, apply it with your finger, clean off your finger, put the lid back on. That takes more time and it's messier. With a doe foot applicator, you have to unscrew it, pull the doe foot out, apply it to your lips, and stick the doe foot back in. I guess that's kind of the same number of steps, but to me it feels fussier. I feel like with a doe foot applicator, why is it that I'm not as into that? Maybe the product is usually goopier, but also it does feel fussier. It doesn't feel as easy as just swiping it on. I like to layer this type of product over and over again onto my lips. I like to be able to do it without a mirror, and I just don't get that vibe from doe foot applicator products. And funnily enough, the type of tinted lip balm or liquid balm where you squeeze it out onto a chiseled tip, like an old-fashioned Blistex style applicator, I'm not into that either. So it might be that it's not just that I don't want the doe foot or the Blistex tip, it's that I don't want it to be a liquid. I want it to come in a solid form, like a stick form, and then melt as I apply it to my lips. The second parameter has to do with pigment level. I'm looking for a tinted lip balm that's not too pigmented, but that is also not completely clear. The last thing I want for a product like this is for it to be basically lipstick level of pigment, so that when you look at me, you see a color on my lips that really alters basically the look of my face. I want it to be light enough pigment that I could wear it with little to no makeup and it won't look unbalanced or it won't feel like a weird choice. But at the same time, I want it to be something a little bit more exciting, a little bit juicier than just a clear lip balm, like just a treatment product. And I find that that balance is actually a little bit more difficult to strike than one might think. It's like, give me something, not nothing, but don't give me too much. The third parameter has to do with texture. I want it to be nourishing to the lips. I want it to feel good to apply. So not super goopy, not super sticky, but I also don't want it to be too thin and just to wear away immediately. It has to have some stick-to-itiveness on the lips, a little bit of lasting power. Fourthly, I want it to be shiny. I like a shiny lip, especially right now. That's what I'm really into. So there are some products like this that have a bit of a hazy cast or a bit of a matte cast. That's not what's going to make it to the top for me. And then lastly, scent, flavor. If it's too heavily scented, really, really fruity, too sweet, super minty, that might turn me off. I find that some scents are fine with me and some aren't, and it's not necessarily easy to dictate or predict. Like, I'm not usually a huge fan of mint, but sometimes it's fine, depending on the product. I usually prefer vanilla over fruit, but sometimes a fruit scent won't bother me and a vanilla scent really will. So it's product specific, but if something checks the first 4 boxes and then has a smell or a taste that I can't abide, it's not going to make it to the top either. So those are my parameters. And the product that I have that comes the closest is this. This is the NARS Afterglow Lip Balm in the shade Fast Lane. And here is how it looks on my lips. So this checks some of the boxes. It's in a bullet format. The pigment level is fantastic. It's giving me a little bit something, but not too much. I didn't mention color in my parameters because I feel like, well, I guess it would be possible for a product to have the exact right pigment level for me, but not come in any shades that work for me. But I feel like most things, I kind of picked irrespective of shade. I'm not comparing things of exactly similar shades to each other. With each product, I picked the shade that I thought would work the best for me. But I think with this type of product, I'm looking for something that's so sheer that the color doesn't matter as much, and like any of several colors in the line might work for me, or most of the colors in the line might work for me because of the light pigment level. And that's the case here. This is a pink that I usually don't love the most, but because it's so sheer, it works. And there are probably some colors in this line that wouldn't work, but more than one that would. The color of this isn't my favorite though. That might be part of why I'm looking for something to unseat it. Texture, that's where we start to run into a little bit of disappointment with this product. It's really thin. I find it a bit nourishing. I find that it has some stick-to-itiveness, but not very much. It soaks in and wears away pretty quickly, and it doesn't really feel like it's deeply nourishing my lips. It feels like a quite thin, slippy layer that I have to reapply and reapply and reapply over the course of the day for it to do anything for me. It's also, I feel like it could be shinier. It's not dull, but it's also not a glassy shine. And the scent is absolutely fine. I think it's unscented, and so it has a little bit of a kind of warm, comforting, very, very faint cosmetic smell, but I don't think of it as a scented product at all. So I have 5 competitors, and I'm just gonna kind of pick blindly, and we're gonna go through tournament style, meaning that the first face-off is between this, the NARS, the current reigning champion, I guess, and whatever comes next. Okay, so I reached blindly into my pile and pulled the Henné Luxury Lip Tint in Bare. I don't know anything about this product. I haven't seen it reviewed anywhere. I was buying most of these products from Credo, and when I searched on the Credo website for lip balms, this was one of the ones that came up. And I actually think that it might have been on the lower end of the price point. I didn't discuss the price point when I introduced this video, but these are all like high-end products. So I think if I were to look for something that's at the drugstore, it would be a separate video of all drugstore products. The same goes for luxury. So none of these are these aren't the Dior Guerlain version of these things. And it's also nothing from e.l.f. in here. It's all sort of that $20 to $30 high-end price point. The NARS was sort of setting the tone for everything else. So this falls into that grouping, but it was less expensive than everything else. I think it was $19. Let's see how it feels. Okay, so it's unscented. I think that it smells a little bit like shea butter, and it kind of makes it smell like new shoes, but it passes that test, at least for me, with flying colors. The smell and taste don't bother me at all. Pigment level, a little too high. It's more pigmented than the NARS was, and the color, I think, it's not my absolute favorite. There's a little orange in it, but it would be fine if it were less pigmented. I might like it more than the NARS if it were less pigmented, but it's the color in addition to the pigment load being the main issue, that makes it score below the NARS when it comes to that parameter. So that's basically the nail in its coffin. I think I would reach for the NARS before I'd reach for this because I just felt like I had to be a little more careful. It looks like lipstick basically on me. And one of the reasons I'm looking, I think, for such a light pigment load is that a lot of things, even at medium pigment, look like lipstick on me. So I'm really looking for that super shiny, glossy, sheer wash of color. It's also not that shiny. It's a little bit more on the satiny side. It does feel very nourishing, maybe a little bit more than the NARS. It's got a little bit more body than the one from NARS, but I just know my preferences and I will be reaching for the NARS before I'll be reaching for this because I want that sheer wash. I want that ease of use. I want to feel like I can lather it all over my lips, go a little bit outside my lip line, and that it will look sensual and juicy instead of looking messy. And I think that with this, if I didn't get a precise application, it would look messy. So NARS is still the reigning champion, sadly. And next up, Mob Beauty. This is the Mob Hydrating Shine Lip Balm. Sounds promising. In the shade M24, which I think the website said was a plum. It looked promisingly sheer in the swatches, which was part of why I went for this one instead of, they have a pale neutral shade. I think it was sold sold out. And at the same time, in the swatches, this one just looked a little bit more appealing. Like it might be less likely to lean orange. And I'm hoping that it's sheer enough that this color won't look like a lipstick on me. So let's see. First of all, I just need to once again commend Mob for their incredible cardboard packaging. They have really figured out how to design cardboard packaging that feels satisfying, feels luxury actually, feels like it's not going to fall apart. It's wonderful. I love, love, love this sustainable packaging. It's so much better than that weird, supposedly biodegradable plastic. However, if I went to you and said, hello, my name is Hannah Louise Poston and this is not a lipstick, you'd be like, girl, you lie. It's like that Dada art piece that says this is not a pipe underneath the picture of a pipe. It's like, this is me wearing a shiny lipstick, a very shiny lipstick. So let's go through the parameters. The bullet is beautiful. I mean, all of these check that box, but this one, the packaging, I just love it. Pigment level, though, is where this immediately becomes a fail. It's just so pigmented. Given how it's doing with the other parameters, I might like this product in a clear, but that's not what I'm looking for in this video. You know, I'm looking for something that has a little bit more, just a little bit of tint. But I know that this comes in maybe even like a sparkly clear. And this makes me want that because, well, I'll get to the other parameters in a second. It makes me want that, but it doesn't make me want itself. Like this color, I even feel like a paler color or a less contrasty color, even that wouldn't be giving me what I want. Like a color more like the color of the Henné one or the color of the NARS one, it would still be too much pigment for me because it has to do with how much pigment is in the product and it's just too much. It's making it too makeup for me. Everything else though is, well, we'll get to the smell in a second. The next two parameters, fantastic. It is providing a really juicy, nourishing layer on my lips and it feels a little bit thicker than the one from NARS. Feels like it's going to be a little bit sturdier. I really like how it feels on my lips. The shine is phenomenal. It is shiny. It is shining and it is shiny and I really, really like that. It has like a glassy shine. When I first started applying it, it smelled like horseradish, distinctly of horseradish, and I was shocked. And now, as I kept going, it sort of became a mint smell, and I think that that's what they're trying to do. But even now, it's like the air that I'm breathing in through the lips that are coated with this product kind of tastes like horseradish, lightly. Weirdly, it doesn't bother me. If I think of it as mint, then I can kind of go there, and it's not strong enough to really bother me. But take note, the smell and taste aren't amazing, but texture, shine, packaging, and the fact that the smell and taste are doable for me, it actually kind of makes it feel like a little bit plumping. All of that makes me think I would like the clear version of this, but it's not the tinted lip balm of my dreams. I actually think NARS is still the reigning champion because the light touch of the pigment in the NARS is going to cause me to reach for it over and over again. I can't wear this on a no makeup day, you know, and that's what I'm looking for. Okay, next up, this is the Hourglass Phantom Volumizing Glossy Balm, and it's the only one that I couldn't order from Credo. I had to place a separate order from Ulta for this product. And I went to that trouble, like I did that because I had come across it in my searches and it looked extremely promising. And it has this color in the range called Rise, which is advertised as being like a cool toned pinky rose. In the swatches on the website, it looked quite grungy, and that's just hard to find across the board. So that really piqued my interest. It's the only one that I've tried other than the NARS one because it arrived earlier than the ones from Credo. So they just arrived and I'm just starting to experiment with them. But this I applied when it first arrived and I've worn it once or twice and I actually really like it. I haven't really thought through whether it beats the NARS, but I know that I really like it. And let me show you why. I mean to say it's beautiful. So packaging is fantastic. I think you could see when I was holding it up that it has that kind of clicky twist up mechanism. So it clicks a little bit. It twists up quite slowly with a bunch of little clicks, like click, 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 click. And it has, as Hourglass products often have, a very small tip, which I don't know, it's satisfying. It feels luxury. I like that. Needless to say though, it's a bullet. So it checks that box because I'm not super picky. Bullets come in slightly different formats. I think the fact that this one is not required to stand alone as like a hard bullet like the NARS and the Henné and even the one from Mob, but rather that you twist a little bit up every time you apply it. That means that the product itself can be a little bit softer. So it's almost like a cross between a liquid and a solid. I feel like it's worth pointing that out about the delivery mechanism of this. The pigment level is exactly what I have been looking for. Exactly. It's almost like it's not there, right? It's almost like it's just clear and that this is just the color of my lips, but it is there. I mean, that's the product on my hands. You can really see. It has pigment. It just has that sort of jelly-like semi-transparency to the product that makes it not look and not feel like lipstick. And I think that that also has to do with the texture. So a product that felt differently, that applied differently, that had this amount of pigment might look and feel a little bit more like lipstick. But somehow the combination of all of its qualities carries it off. It feels like almost nothing. And I feel like it looks like just really healthy, juicy lips, and that I could wear it on a no makeup day or even an actual no makeup day, and it wouldn't look like my face was unbalanced. I also do really like the color. It doesn't look like a strong grungy lip, but the fact that the color has those qualities means that it leans very, very far away from being too orange or too pink. So it's more of what's not there rather than what is there in terms of color. It is much thicker than the NARS Balm on my lips. It lays itself down more thickly. It almost paints itself on. It's also thicker than the balms from Henné and Mob. It's the thickest of all of them that I've tried. It's not sticky at all. It still has that balm quality. It just feels like it's going to last a lot longer on my lips than any of those felt like they would last. As you can see, the shine is phenomenal. It's an extremely glassy shine on the level of the one from Mob. And then the scent, or really the taste, because it doesn't smell, it actually doesn't smell minty at all. You can't smell it. It doesn't have a scent, but it's using mint or menthol or something to be slightly plumping. So when it's first going on, it doesn't have a scent or a taste. And then you start to feel a mint sensation on your lips that makes it feel like it tastes like mint, but it actually doesn't taste like mint. It's just that tingly plumping aspect of it. It's weird. It's weird because it gives mint without giving mint. I'm not the biggest fan of mint, and I'm glad that it doesn't have a mint smell. And I assume that the tingling is temporary. I like it. It is making me feel like it's plumping my lips a little bit, but in a not too aggressive way. I'm very enthusiastic about this. I was into it when I applied it. I didn't pay that much attention. I was like, oh, this is nice. Now, here with the lights, paying really close attention, going through all of my checkboxes, parameters, etc., comparing, contrasting, I'm very enthusiastic. This is going to be a tough one to beat. So we have a new reigning champion in the Hourglass. It's beat out the NARS because it's a much more satisfying, thick, nourishing texture. That's the main reason. But I also like the color better of Rise from Hourglass than I do of Fast Lane from NARS. Next up, I've been curious about this for a long time. This is the KOSAS Wet Stick Moisturizing Lip Shine in the shade 100 Degrees. A lot has looked so promising about this, and the thing that I can't tell is what the pigment level is like, that I can't tell from looking at any of the reviews or any of the online images. That's the thing about this type of product. It's very difficult to tell whether they're pigmented or not when you're looking at the listings, because I think a lot of times the brands make them look more pigmented than they are in order to show you what the colors are. Or sometimes the claims make them sound like they're going to be a lot less pigmented than they are, or the way the models look, they look more like a balm than a lipstick, and then you get it and it's basically a lipstick. So this, I have no idea. Looking at the bullet, it looks like it's going to be disappointingly pigmented. It looks like it's going to be a lipstick, but let's see. Okay, it's disappointed me in a lot of ways. Let's go through the list. The bullet's fine. Delivery mechanism is fine. Pigment level. It is absolutely and without a doubt a lipstick. Is it just me because I'm so pale? Maybe. Or maybe it has to do with the color. Maybe if I had a paler color than this, maybe color has more to do with this than I think. But this seems to be color-wise a pretty similar color to the one from Hourglass. And yeah, the pigment load is just much higher. Not as high as I thought. KOSAS is on the top and Hourglass is on the bottom. But it's funny. They're on my hand. They don't look that different in pigment level, and they don't even look that different in color. But on my lips, like the way the product is taking to my lips, the way that the melting of it against my lips has dispersed the product. It's almost like the way the pigment is suspended in the substance of the product. It looks and feels like a lipstick, and I feel like I couldn't just apply this messily, willy-nilly all throughout the day and have it be that glossy, sheer, wet look, kind of drippy, glassy shine that the Hourglass would give me and that the NARS kind of gives me. I feel like I would be reapplying a lipstick throughout the day and would have to be more careful, and that if it gets out of my lip line, it'll really look a mess. And the darkness of the color, and this isn't really that dark of a color, right? But the depth of it maybe makes my lips look a little bit smaller. It just feels like working with a lipstick. But the thing that surprises me the most is that the texture is thin like the NARS. It's there, but it doesn't have that really beefy stick-to-itiveness. It doesn't have that quality. There it is blotted. I mean, it's just giving me kind of nothing. Like I might wear it blotted, but it's not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for a lip product to tinker with. I'm looking for something to blah, 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 blah all the time. So the thinness of the formula is actually, I think, the biggest letdown. The pigment load also not great. It might have a faint vanilla smell, but it's totally a non-issue. And then what was my other parameter? Oh, the shine. I feel like it wasn't that shiny either, right? It was shiny because it was wet, but it didn't have that glassy shine. So wow, an actual flop. It's not a flop as a product though. I think that that's really a nice product. It just happens to check fewer of my boxes, way fewer of my boxes than some of the other ones that I'm testing here today. And lastly, this is the Rituel de Fille Enchanted Lip Sheer in the shade Narcissus. This came up in Credo when I was searching for lip balms, so it would have caught my attention anyway, but a lot of you have recommended this to me because you say that it's like a grungy but sheerer lip product from Rituel de Fille, because there was that lipstick from them that was in the search for a dupe for Gone Greige that I really liked, but it was more lipsticky. I can't remember what it was I did or said or reviewed, whether it was that or not, that caused a bunch of you to recommend this to me. And I think you were recommending it based on color as well as texture and everything. But looking at it now, it looks so orange to me. I'm very curious about how the pigment load will be on this. It just looks like it's really going to lean orange. I think we need to have a talk about the word sheer, the meaning of the word sheer. I mean, I know that things pack more of a punch on me than they do on most people because I'm so pale, but I just feel like this is not that sheer. I mean, it's more sheer on my hand than a full pigment lipstick, but practically. And maybe that's where these brands are making the mistake. How does it actually practically appear on the lips and apply to the lips? There isn't that significant of a difference between this level of pigment and a lipstick level of pigment, and there are a lot of lipsticks that are marketed as lipsticks that have this level of pigment. Which is whatever, you know, that's why we review things, because you just can't always tell everything from the listing. We can't be as precise maybe as we would like to be. And your mileage may vary, of course, depending on how you apply products and what you're looking for, what registers as more of a lipstick on you and what registers as more of a tint on you. I just feel like the word sheer, the specific word sheer, is overstating it a bit, because once again, you cannot take me seriously saying to you, this is not a lipstick, it is a lip sheer. Maybe blotted, but then we're losing what little shine we had. So let's go through the parameters. The bullet is lovely. Rituel de Fille does a beautiful job. Clearly pigment level and color. I mean, the color is not as bad as I thought that it would. It's not leaning as orange as I thought that it would be. It's a little bit rose, a little bit more rose than that. So it does have kind of a nice muted pink quality. It's not too orange, not too pink. It's a pretty color for somebody with a truly neutral undertone or even like an olive leaning undertone. But there's just no denying that it is at a pigment level that makes it look like a lipstick for me. And a lot of lipsticks, like for example, the Merit lipsticks, that's my favorite bullet lipstick. And those are to me lipsticks. This is the same pigment level as that. So I really feel like I'm wearing a lipstick. The texture is really, really thick, nourishing, and stiff and dry. And I kind of mean that in a good way. If you're looking for something to have super stick-to-itiveness on your lips for the whole day and to create a nourishing layer, this is fantastic. It feels actually like a very sturdy and well-designed lip treatment. It's waxier than anything else that I've tried today. I think that is working in its favor when it comes to nourishment. So as a lipstick, it's got a really great lip nourishing and I think probably long-lasting formula, but almost no shine because again, it's more that waxy finish, like a traditional chapstick, but even sturdier than that, even sturdier and more nourishing than that. And then the scent, Rituel de Fille uses a ton of, I think, straight lavender oil in their products, so it has a pretty strong scent of that. I can still smell it, but it's faded a little bit. However, if you can't abide basically lavender essential oil as a scent or an ingredient, then you should know to stay away from this brand. I don't mind it. I like it. But overall, the product, which is good, I feel like it's a really good product. I respect it, but it definitely is not what I'm after with this tournament. So it too has fallen to the champion, the Hourglass, which I'm now going to reapply. So I was looking for something that would give me something, but not too much. And I feel like this is really doing that. It's especially killing it in the shine category and the pigment level, obviously. I feel like this is the only one of all of these that has got the pigment level. Maybe pigment level is kind of on par with NARS, but if you remember, the NARS one had, for me, the right amount of pigment, but just wasn't nourishing, thick, and glossy enough. I'm very happy with it. Problems I could potentially see going forward, because it's a little bit goopy. It's sort of set in its little canister in a slightly goopy way. A lot of product transfers to the lips when you apply it, and it feels like there's not that much to begin with. Yeah, so there's actually half the product in this Hourglass container than there is in the NARS. So the NARS is 0.1 ounces and Hourglass is 0.05 ounces. So there isn't very much product in it and you use a lot at once. It's hard to apply it without using kind of a lot. I could see myself using this up kind of in a short amount of time if it replaces the NARS. And if I start using it as frequently as I use the NARS, I could see myself using it up. Now, I have a lot of lip products. I do this for a living. I'm often cycling through my lip products just to keep things fresh. So it might not end up being as much of an actual practical issue for me as it could be for you, for one of you, for some of you. Like if you get this as your one and only, and it's expensive, and then you've used it up in like, I don't know, a couple weeks. Like if you're applying it all day, every day, days and days on end, I could see using it up in a couple of weeks. It just feels like the cost per use is high. So that's the one problem I could see with this. Let me know if you have experience with this product and if you've run into that. Or maybe it's not what I think it would be. Maybe I'm not actually going through it, like using it. Maybe I won't go through it at that rapid rate of speed that I'm imagining. But that's the only problem that I could maybe think of. In terms of the product itself, the experience of wearing it and how it looks, it's a winner, baby. So now that you know what I'm after, and really there was only one, the Mob, Henné, Rituel de Fille, and KOSAS, 4 out of the 5 that I got for this video were all too pigmented. The way the pigment level kind of sat in the product and applied made them look and feel like lipsticks. So I'm really looking for something quite lightly pigmented, truly sheer. Now that you know what I'm into and you know that I'm looking for a bullet format and everything else, the question is, should I continue on? Are there 5 more? If there are enough in the comments, enough suggestions of things like this in the comments for me to get 5 more and do another round, maybe I'll do that. I could also do a drugstore version, but the thing with drugstore and or K-beauty that I'm worried about is scent and taste. I'm worried that I'll run into feeling like the thing I'm putting on my lips is actually kind of nasty and it smells nasty and it tastes nasty. I just feel like a lot of drugstore products are really over-scented or aren't actually nourishing. So know that that's the thing that I'm worried about running into if I try to find a product like this at the drugstore. But put your suggestions down below if you have them, and if there are enough, we can do a drugstore version. And I'm also very curious about luxury. Maybe the same issue with scent, but if there are enough suggestions for me to do a battle of the luxury, like actual luxury lip balms, then maybe I'll consider that too, if there are enough suggestions and if there's enough interest. So let me know what you think I should try and where you think I should go next with this. But for the time being, I'm very happy. I feel like little bits of dead skin are sticking up, but it's not because of the product. Oh yeah. There, I think I got it. Because I was rubbing my lips so many times to remove the product, it sort of picked up some dead skin, and hopefully you couldn't see that sort of sticking to my top lip and being gross. Thank you for watching this tournament style first impressions battle of the lip balms. I'm going to go about my business wearing this probably for days on end starting now. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done that yet and you would like to. And don't forget to take extra good care of yourself so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world. I think we got it.